Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus, and I am juiced and twitching to talk about DX9's first War in Pocket 2-pack, featuring Guartinel and Speedoo. I've been really into the independent unofficial Transformers projects that seem to react to the Combiner arms race by aiming at a more legendary Cyberverse size and scale, and DX9's effort is the first one I've gotten my hands on. Let's see how these guys turned out. Speedoo here is a blur-ass blur vehicle mode for better or for worse. His colors and overall shape are spot on, but he is also a bulgy wedge that kinda just sits on the ground when you aren't pretend hovering him around in the air. I wish the robot arms weren't quite so obvious, just chilling out in the sides of the main chassis. On the bright side, the windshield is picked out really well, and the big silver thrusters on the back provide enough blatant imaginary propulsion to leave me feeling just satisfied enough. Oh, his gun can also plug into either of those holes near the back. I'd recommend sanding down the handle a bit. Mine was insanely tight, clearly not accounting for the layer of silver paint causing a microscopic thickening of the handle. Now, Guartinel. Oh, Guartinel. I can already hear you saying that he just looks like a mundane little van, and, well, that's exactly what I wanted. He is totally a tiny lump on wheels, a dingy little four-wheeler with bright windshields and a smooth rooftop curvature. There are a lot of panel lines, but at this scale, I think Guartinel's vehicle mode is quite a triumph, marred only by the big slot gap up top and the over-tightened axle rivets that prevent his wheels from spinning freely with very much ease. Speedoo manages to avoid being too simple despite having a simple transformation concept. There's a lot of 90-degree ball joint swiveling though, and his head transformation requires a surprising amount of small-scale precision for what appears to be an intended quick-fire dynamic reveal. Guartinel is just tiny transforming toy art. All the mass unfurls cleanly with a really clever foot transformation and a whole mess of panel wrapping on the arms that leads to, well, I really like Guartinel. More on that in a bit. Speedoo is pretty hardcore blur. He's a little lithe, a little boxy, and maybe a little too greebly on his arms. His silhouette and proportions are pretty damn good, and the only thing I'd really like to change are the unsubtle flaps that are folded under and hanging off of his fists. He's got a sharp sculpt, especially given his size. Check out that face! Also, I am a huge fan of the vehicle mode boosters becoming his shoulder mass. And check out these proper and topical blur colors! Between plastic polymers and painted Pantones, the dueling blues are superbly done, and there are a lot of paint applications on this guy. All of the white and silver details are painted, obviously, but some of the darker blue parts are inked in as well, and match the darker blue plastic really well. Speedoo can also hold his gun. That's good. He'd suck at fighting bad guys if he couldn't. It can also chill out on his backpack via the vehicle mode peg holes. Now, Guartinel. He does have a fairly ugly flap hanging off of his back, but everything else? Oh, how I love this figure. He's got a characterful silhouette, all the strong color and paint applications we saw on Speedoo, and, in my opinion, an even stronger head sculpt. But throughout this figure, there's also a slightly increased sense of toy meat. I mean, he is bulkier, as he should be, but this guy just feels so dense for his size, partly thanks to all the folded parts on his arms and feet. By the way, Guartinel's foot design is like everything I love about classic Transformers in one physical attribute. And stored in the heels of those bot boots are Guartinel's dual pistols. Well, pistol and pistol-like grabber thingy. I don't know what it is either, man. If you put both guns into one hand, it kinda looks like an engineering tool from space? Post your theories in the comments, yo. It's double posability day here at the, well, look, it's a 2-pack, okay? We're gonna talk about their posability. You go in the back for now. Let's talk about Speedoo. You go way in the back for now. So Speedoo has got a ball-jointed neck, and the range on this, I think, is pretty impressive given how teeny he is. His shoulders have got a ball joint connection as well, and I think that the range on this is kinda disappointing given how it is not as posable, and it's not posable in the same way that Function X Code's shoulders were not as posable. Only in this case, there isn't a massively clever transformation getting in the way, it's just that these huge silver things prevent the shoulder from going out all the way. I'm not sure if they can get these off or something, if that would fix it, but like there's a cut up there, but you can only go out this far, and I don't know. Considering what the guy in back is able to do, I found that kind of disappointing. Nonetheless, there is a ball-jointed elbow, which also provides a bicep swivel. There's no hand joint or wrist joint, although that thing sure likes to do that when I'm messing around with this guy. His waist has got a simple swivel, and it's real nice. It makes it look like he's just like going for a run, something fierce. His hips are ball jointed, and they have a good range. They're not like the shoulders. They are able to go out far enough for me to feel satisfied with his splitsability. It's a metric by which we measure the amount of Van Damme in a robot toy. His knees are ball-jointed, which also means that they offer a pseudo-thigh swivel, and his ankles are ball-jointed, although, to be honest, the range on them is not very far. Like, to call these an ankle tilt is being incredibly generous. They kind of tilt a little bit, and it does help, but they get a lot more motion in this direction than they do from side to side, and they can also turn and whatever it is you want to do. So Speedoo has got some pretty good posability. His shoulders are a bit limited, but for all my qualms about them, they certainly don't bring the toy down, and he has a lot of life to him for something that is so small. As for Guartinel, he's got his own suite of setups and whatnot. His head is also on a ball joint. I think this ball joint is fantastic for this scale and for a little pea head stuck on a big barrel chest like this. Like, there's a lot of rotational activity going on here, and I think it's pretty impressive. As for his shoulders, they are better than Speedoo's, because these shoulders are able to go a whole lot more out. Like, they can go all the way, like, crucifix style. Partly for the transformation, but the happy upside is that his individual posability is great, too. And they've also got this kind of joint to go back a little bit if you wanted to really just be thrusting. I really like these shoulders. The elbows are ball jointed, and they work just as well as Speedoo's, provided you're okay with moving this flap out now and then. If you try to keep the flap tight to his forearm, it will get in the way of stuff this way, or if you have this twisted and try to bend it, it'll prevent the elbow from bending. You just gotta do that, and now everything bends. I don't mind that at all. This guy has a frigging ab joint, again, from the transformation, and more so for going back than for going forward. Like, he doesn't really get a whole lot of forward motion. Some people will just make this his default position. I like to have it up a little bit because it lines up the shoulders and the hips just a bit more. There's also a waist joint, but man, he can do this, and he's a small toy. His hips are ball joints with a great range of motion. Whoops, I ripped his leg off because that is also a ball joint with a great range of motion. I've never actually ripped that ball joint off before, so I guess I properly ham-fisted that on camera. Hit my quota for 2014 just before the year came to a close. But yeah, the knee joint bends in pretty well. And as a thigh swivel, it functions great. His feet don't really have posability. If you have his foot, like, forward like this, you can bend this down to get it flat to the ground still, just as a happy coincidence from how he transforms, and that's kind of helpful, because it means he can, you know, maintain a position like that. But I don't really mind the lack of, like, a big ankle tilt or anything, because the feet, I said this already, but I frigging love this foot design. A huge tilt in here, like some kind of mushroom peg rotation at that point, would have been a nice touch, but at this scale, and with a joint that is designed like this, like, I can't really see how that would work without putting a bit of risk on the structural integrity of the figure. So, Guartinel poses friggin' great, in my opinion. It's part of what has made me fall in love with this toy so well, is that all his joints are really solidly designed and have a real free range. And like I said, by no means does that mean I am talking some smack on Speedoo here. It's just that I think Guartinel does it all with, like, just way more of an impressive stature, because he's so beefy. There's so much more emotion out of any motion he does. And, yeah, I like both these guys. They are exactly what I was hoping to see out of unofficial, independent, budget-free takes on robots at this kind of Legends Cyberverse-style scale. They just emote so well. I gotta go take a shower. In short, DX9 have hit this small-scale concept out of the park. Speedoo and Guartinel are excellent takes on the idea of operating inside the Legends Cyberverse scale, but pumping up the engineering and craftsmanship far beyond a single-digit price point. The build quality of these figures is superb, and hopefully indicative of the future of the War in Pocket series. Now, it's not that there's anything wrong with Speedoo, I think he's pretty damn cool, but Guartinel is such a densely packed, pocket-sized parcel of plastic personality, posability, and parts count. He feels like the one-man mission statement of everything I want to see out of the various independent groups that are creating unofficial Transformers toys in this smaller Legend-style scale. And the cherry on top is that this is also one of the best Ironhide figures I have ever handled. $45 for these two is a very sweet price that I think is really worth your time if you're into the idea of smaller transforming robot toys. Yes, it's nearly $50 for a pair of figures that'll fit in your pocket, but I feel like that money is soaked throughout the assembly of these guys. If you're one of the third-party buyers whose world revolves around the money equals size equation, I got nothing to tell you, but this release is easily among my top 10 unofficial Transformers toys of 2014, for Guartinel alone! Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, and look, I'll say it right now, I probably won't have a formal top 10 list come the end of the year. I have a lot of trouble making ranked lists. I've got commitment deficiencies.